So, a question of what are their favorite foods? Well, um, as we know, Nate is a vegetarian, so um, I don't really know vegetarian cuisine, so I'm not really sure what he would like. I see something just tofu related, not to be cliche, but for some reason that's what I see him eating. So, um, as far as Emmy goes, she does have a strange fascination for pancakes and cupcakes. So, I think if it were up to her, she would be eating baked goods quite often. Fortunately, she has Jack to cook for her, and he likes healthy, balanced meals. So, um, thank God, or Emmy might weigh like 900 pounds. So, that's pretty much it. Was what happened to Emmy's best friend, Teresa? Did she go on to become a famous photographer? I'd say when Bradley came along, Teresa started hanging out with him a lot, and that also coincidentally was when Emmy really got into her lifelong relationship as well. So, as friends sometimes do, they did drift apart a little bit, but if you remember at the end of Never Look Back, Teresa has written a children's book, so she's got this sort of, I don't want to say erotic photography, but it's a it's a little risque, and then she's got this children's book career. So we've got a pseudonym over here. She can't write under the same name, and she does still do some photography, but mainly I think it would be for people she knows as favors, something like that. So, but I think she and Emmy exchange Christmas cards every year, maybe talk on the phone every once in a while, but they did. Okay, so another question was. What was the name of Emmy and Nate's little girl? And I can't really decide. There are three different names that kind of are in the running for the name of that child. And I'm being vague because I think there might be people watching this who haven't read the series, and I don't want to spoil anything for them. But to me, I would think her name would be it could be Annabelle, which is a name that seems to be popular with the Decemberists, which was Nate and Emmy's favorite band, and it's a cute name. And then two other options. Sounds like I am just leeching off of Sex in the City, but I swear I'm not. I like the name Miranda for its Shakespeare history. And then I like the name Charlotte because I could see this little redheaded, brown-eyed girl running around with the name Charlotte or Lottie or something like that, which I think is really cute. So those are the names. You decide. I got a question last year, actually. It was the day that the last Harry Potter movie came out, and I was just about to leave to go stand in line for the movie. And I got this question from a girl named Donna, who lives in Ireland. She posted it on my Facebook, and I couldn't wait to answer her question. So I took my iPad with me, and I typed feverishly for like an hour and ignored all my friends. And by the time the movie started, I still didn't have a really good answer. It was rambling. I'll go ahead and say it. Can you imagine? Anyway, so I didn't finish it, and then I had to like erase my iPad for some reason, and so then I really didn't finish it. But it probably was best that way because the question she had is really going to be answered in a book. So her question was, is Livy Nate and Emmy's spiritual child? And the question had, of course, occurred to me when I wrote Never Look Back. I think that I think Emmy would have, mentally done the math and would have wondered if there was an association there as well. I don't think she would have ever said anything to Jack. Jack very well may have thought about it too, but I know he wouldn't bring it up either. But this whole idea will be explored by Livy herself in her series, and I think it'll answer your question, Donna, and I hope that you are pleased with the answer. So that's it. So I get one question over and over again when mainly when people I know read the books, and that's, is this based on my life? Am I Emmy? Is she me? For the most part, no, no, not at all. Um, she definitely has a much more interesting life than I do. But I would say little pieces of my personality, I've kind of infused them into each of the characters. But if I had to pick one that I was most like, it would not be Emmy, it would be Jack. So just ethically, and he's a planner. I just really associate with him the most there. Of course, not the money wise, because I'm more like Emmy on the money end, so it's a little different there. But I would say out of all three of them, though, I am the least like Nate, hands down. I think any of my friends would agree with that statement as well. Did anything did any of the events that occurred? Did any of those happen in my life? Knock on wood, I've never lost anyone like that, so I'm very lucky for that. When that character introduced himself to me, that was always his fate. It was the most difficult thing I've ever written, and I cried probably every day for a month when I wrote that, and still cry when I read it. And sometimes when I talk about it with video cameras on me, it makes me want to cry too. So, but there are things in the book that did happen in real life. Ruby, the dog that Emmy buys for Jack in the third book, Ruby was a real dog. She was a real fox terrier. She was a hellion, but I loved her. I got her back in '98, and she lived to a ripe old age of 4.5. So, but it's awesome that she gets to be immortalized in a book. But she was a pretty kick-ass dog. Something else that really happened in real life, I'm ashamed to say it, but Emmy's most embarrassing childhood moment was also my most embarrassing childhood moment. So the story she tells when she has dinner with Jack that first night at his apartment, or his house, sorry. Yeah. We had to do the little, the construction paper drawings of our bodies when we were in the first grade. And I did go over to my neighbor's house with a little bottle of Tickle deodorant. I don't know if y'all remember the brand, but it was a cool bottle that did in fact look like a microphone, and I did in fact use it probably to sing Like a Virgin or something like that when I was way too young to understand that song. But I did take it over there, and I did color in a certain private part on my neighbor's boy cutout picture of himself. And I did hide under the bed, and his mother did find me. So I was mortified, terrified. My neighbor did cry, the manly first grader that he was. But I did not have to fix it in real life, so I got off the hook there. There's some characters that are loosely based on people that I know. David, who's mentioned in the very first chapter of the entire series, is based on a guy that I knew in college. It's obvious he didn't read the books because he would know himself in that. The college David was very much like the guy that I knew. Same aspirations, same reason why the relationship didn't work out. The main difference was I did not give it up to him, as Emmy gave it up to David. And then, of course, David stands Emmy up, and that did not happen. Nothing like that happened in real life, so I'm sure my David is a very upstanding guy. Teresa is based on a girl that I know. I adore her. I met her, wow, it's almost been 10 years ago, but she's one of the most phenomenal women that I know, and I'm very glad to have her as a friend. There are other people in the books that are loosely based on people I know, but I would say just more by character traits than actual people. I knew a guy, or I still know him actually. I know a guy named Chris who's a really good guy. Seems like he would be a great brother, and that is kind of where I got the name Chris in the book. And then the name Brian, who you meet in Time Stands Still, that is based on a friend of mine named Brian, who um, I just wanted to include him in the book, honestly. He's just a cool guy. And then some other character names are taken from people I knew, but their traits really aren't. People like Brandon, Andrew, Sean, Eric, Patrick, Melissa, Megan, all of those names. It's pretty much, yeah, pretty much all of those names are names of people that I do know around me. Um, but the characters in the books really aren't anything like the actual people. Um, let's see, hold on. The strained relationship between Emmy and her sister. Yeah, I kind of feel that with my own sister. So there's one conversation that they have about, or I don't know if they actually discuss it, but Emmy, there might be just kind of an inner monologue for Emmy about how her sister jumps from boyfriend to boyfriend, and it was many years ago that my sister and I had that same conversation, because I wouldn't say my sister jumped from boyfriend to boyfriend, but she clearly didn't like to be alone, and that it wasn't a concept that I was really familiar with, and we didn't really relate to one another on that level because of it. I mean, it's just completely, one person who has to have someone and one person who just doesn't. It's just a weird difference, I guess. But my sister's married with children now, so, and I'm still single, so I guess we haven't changed that much. But so I want to thank everyone for submitting questions. This was kind of a fun experiment for me. So if there's anything that comes to mind that you would like to ask me, please feel free to email me or leave it on a comment anywhere on my blog. I get them all. And I will try to answer them for you. Now, if it's something that will spoil the series for someone else, you might get a personal video response like this, or I might just shoot you an email back about it. So anyway, I just want to thank all of you for your support and for really getting attached to these characters like I did. They are like family to me now, and even if I'm writing for 10 other people in the world, it's enough for me because I'm just glad someone else can enjoy it like I do. So thank you so much.